so we're late lactation here at the moment, slowly winding down the end of another season. There's three things sort of we aim at this time of the year. We'll probably milk for about another month, though not the whole herd. We'll start to dry off cows, and the trigger points there is obviously calving dates and their body condition score, and then overall looking at the picture of the farm pasture cover. So the weather conditions have been extremely favourable for us this year. The well talked up El Nino never actually arrived, or put it another way, if we have had an El Nino summer here, I want one every year, because we've just had phenomenal rain since Christmas, and I suppose it's a silver lining on a tough year financially, that it there was no stress there with having to feed cows. We had been on pasture diet. I mean, we haven't fed any grass silage out this year yet, from 1st of January, and a typical year now I would have probably have the best part of 100 ton of dry matter of grass silage fed out by now. So you can imagine the cost saving there, and the time saving, and the stress and all. So we came through the summer just on grass and 2 to 3 kgs of turnips, and it was a very simple system. We funny, and you're probably going to ask how we do, and we're on par with last season now. We lost a bit of ground prior to Christmas. We did have a tough spring here. Growing conditions were quite low. It's kind of compensated itself, and we're on track, and we'll probably finish 1 or 2% ahead of last year, and so nothing too bizarre on this side. We're north of the North Island, so very 10th 12th of July calving here. So when you work it back to any of those later first calving cows in particular, they do need their 4 months holidays. So we would normally, well, weather dependent. I haven't went any later than the last week of April, and that's purely, well, mostly the weather has dictated that. So we're not doing it any different here, but that's not to say I think there will be a few farmers in light of the lower milk price probably will pull the pin that little bit earlier. Although I laugh. You go to discussion groups, and it's when are we going to dry off this year? And if it's a high payout, we'll keep the milking on. It's a great milk price, much to the expense of body condition score next year's cover. And I can guarantee it'll be the same thing. We'll strike another drop out of them. It's a real low payout. We need as much as we can get. But I don't, to be honest, the milk price doesn't come into us. The non-negotiable is calving condition at a body condition at calving. So we work it from that. We're probably one of the luckier regions. There has a few areas. I think the lower North Island has done it relatively hard with the weather, and Taranaki as well, which would be traditionally, summer safe. They have had it quite tough. I think a few of the stats running around here. I think our region, this area, 2.2% behind at the moment, and I'd sort of envisage that won't change a lot as we're coming towards the end of the lactation. So the main reason for that, like we mentioned earlier, yes, we've had a hard spring, but we've had a phenomenal growth from Christmas onwards. I did some calculation there. We've utilized the best part of a ton more of dry matter, and I would say that has come from post Christmas, because we've did everything the same as it was up until Christmas, and I mean, it's not hard to work out. If we fed 100 ton of dry matter, you've replaced that with grass, and I would say that was typical of the many farms in the district here as well. The latest forecast, $3.90 a kilo milk solid, and I guess you can do your conversions there for euro per litre. Funnily, it's down nearly 5 cents more than the original doomsday forecast of 3.85. Is kind of come full circle. The reality is, for that price, it's not making ends meet for most people. There's a few new stats there. Dairy NZ has recently released the sort of projected break even for many farms is $5.25. Now that's including interest and rent. So you're talking about a farm working expense they're projecting of $3.75. The interesting thing there, Jack, that's a remarkable improvement since last year. You were up in the mid fours. So there has been some aggressive cost cutting from farmers here. But unfortunately, you're looking at an average $1.50 a kg of debt or rent servicing, and that's sort of what before there's any living expenses off it. So it is people are doing it hard. There's no doubt about it. I think the majority of what would have been feed is quite ironic. You're looking at palm kernel sitting there, $170 a ton. For this time of year, there's normally a two, if not a three, in front of that. So that's a sure reflection of the strong dollar was probably driving that a little bit, but pure reflection of lack of use. The interesting thing, Jack, there has been apparently a lot of feed pulled out, but production hasn't actually fallen as much as people anticipated. And to me, there's two things there. I think that possibly indicates a hell of a lot of pasture substitution being going on previously, or a lot of supplements being wasted. So, okay, you could argue maybe people were carrying too many cows. There's a little bit of destocking in that, but that's an interesting observation, I think, around the feed price. The feed cost. Other costs cut out. A lot of people will have removed, including ourselves, we've removed herd testing, and albeit a temporary, milk recording. Sorry, yep. So we've cut that out. There'll be pretty much a spending freeze on any capital work around the farm. People have deferred, P&K fertilizer. Although the thing was, a lot of these things weren't fundamental changes; they were temporary in the light of a recovery. And it'll just be interesting how people will hedge their bets for the forthcoming season. We were sort of anticipating after Christmas we'd see a recovery. That hasn't happened. So actually now I think you're starting to see those fundamental changes. There's a bit of a drive. There's a sort of a get up and go now around the Dairy NZ promoting a pasture first, and it's sort of back to basics. And people are actually engaged in that. And I honestly think, a few people have been put into a corner and maybe have nowhere else to turn, or are looking at this as their last lifeline out of it. Is what I think. So yeah, I think we are going to see a little bit of a change. Now I'm not denying that there is some very successful operators still feeding supplements and making good money out of it. But you are talking about the top performers is achieving that, not just your average farmer. Even ourselves there, any sort of long-term status quo budget you'd have been doing on $6. You would never have dreamt of having a digit of a 3 in front of it. So caught a hell of a lot of people on the hop. And I think the biggest shock, I suppose, was from the giddy heights of the $8 payout and the rapid turnaround. I guess there was a bit of an insulation for the first 12 months with the strong deferred payment coming through, but the reality is now we're rock bottom, and there's no sort of buffer there from previous years. Quite frankly, it's last man standing or survival of the fittest, for want of a better phrase, really. Not as such yet. Lot of rumors sort of floating around and various stories, but I am yet to see anything. I think in fairness to the banks, they're willing to, they're standing by their clients for the meantime. But I can strongly see, if we have another year of this, unfortunately, there's going to be some people that are going to have to, the book's going to have to be closed. I think not so much the forced sales. I think you're going to see a little bit of, and I think you might see a number of maybe older farmers. Maybe they're under the pump financially, and I guess there's other sort of challenges ahead coming in. You've got more compliance, be it with labour or health and safety or environmental, and maybe they'll, maybe all that together is too much. Flip side of that is they're not going to sell their farm though when it's devalued as well. So I think you're not going to. I don't think you're going to see a mass devaluing of all farms, but I think there may be a bargain or two, sort of some of those forced sales. Well, for us, I suppose our aim this year was to stand still, and that might sound very defeatist, but when there's many people starting to slide around you, it's an achievement in itself. We're quite lucky that we've. Well, I'll be honest, we we're producing, we're breaking even on the milk price, but then as far as living costs and any other debt repayments, we're not fit to maintain that. So we've sort of, I suppose, we have our long term plan has on paper taken a bit of a hit as a share milker owning our cows. We've sort of had a double whammy, so to speak. We've our cow prices have been devalued, so hence our equity has got lighter, and coupled with the fact that we have been unable to pay off principal. However, I think putting a positive spin on it, our medium term goal of land ownership may now become short term, as in those opportunities that may present themselves that we've just spoken about. So, we're just hanging tight, and I guess the main aim, as I say, standing still, and the main aim is to be still standing when the recovery, and I'm quite certain it's going to take place, but when it takes place, that we're armed and ready to go. I think your next 3 to 4 years milk price would probably answer that question. If you had a crystal ball and could say what that was, that would answer it. I don't think there's a lot. There's been marginal land developed previously and converted to produce milk, and maybe not at a very low cost base. They're obviously under pressure. I think we're seeing a little bit of pressure coming on environmental aspects as well. To me, I don't think we're going to see a huge increase in supply. I sort of look at it more like a merry-go-round. It's sort of you'll have a farmer step off here, but you might have the likes of ourselves stepping on, and you sort of may see a little bit more of a plateaued sort of a production. Now, that's totally my own opinion. Others may have a different view, but I think with land prices in relative to the commodity price at the moment, it's just not sustainable to carry on like that. Yeah, well, I guess it's interesting just watching the Irish situation, the removal of quotas, and many sort of blame that for the glut in the market. But the truth is, the writing was on the wall before that. We've had China went stagnant with the Russian ban, and I suppose the timing of Ireland's or sorry, the quotas coming off was poor, I suppose, unfortunately. So my message, I suppose, for farmers is control what you can control. The reality is you have no control over the weather, your interest rates, the milk price, but you've actually got a lot of things inside your own farm gate that you can control. And I'm talking about, maybe driving some of those physical performing things, utilizing more grass, compact calving, monitoring things like your concentrates fed per cow, your heifer live weights, and those physical things will actually turn into financial things. They'll turn into financial performance, because you'd be surprised how much actually extra you can get inside your own farm gate. I think another thing to remember is that we are trading a commodity. It comes in cycles, and we are at the bottom of a cycle. Now, nobody knows when that upturn is going to come, but the laws of economics will state that it will recover in time. And I think in the meantime, we have to sort of maybe take stop and smell the roses and realize, there is more to life than low milk prices, and really, take time with your family and friends. And, if we all stick together, I think we'll all come out battling at the other side.